Emma had spent the last 7 years believing she had found the love of her life. From the day she met Ryan in college, she stood beside him through every failure, every rejection, and every impossible dream. While everyone else doubted him, Emma believed in him without question. She worked exhausting double shifts at a local cafe during the day and freelanced online at night, saving every dollar she could so Ryan could chase his dream of becoming a successful architect. Whenever Ryan wanted to attend expensive seminars or buy new design software, Emma quietly paid for it without expecting anything in return. She even sold the small neighborhood bakery that had belonged to her late grandmother, the only valuable thing she had inherited, because Ryan convinced her that opening his own architecture firm would secure their future together. One day, he would always say while holding her hands, "I'll build us the most beautiful home in the city, and every brick will remind me of everything you sacrificed for me." Emma believed every word because love had made trust feel effortless. She never imagined that the man she loved more than herself had already begun planning a future that didn't include her. As Ryan's business slowly became successful, something about him started to change. His phone was always locked, he worked late almost every night, and he became strangely protective whenever Emma asked simple questions. Whenever she expressed concern, he laughed and blamed the pressure of running a business. Emma wanted to believe him because the alternative was too painful to imagine. The only person she confided in was her childhood best friend, Olivia. Emma had known Olivia since they were 10 years old. They had shared birthdays, family vacations, heartbreaks, and countless dreams. Emma trusted Olivia as much as she trusted Ryan. Whenever Ryan canceled dinner plans or came home late from work, Olivia comforted Emma, telling her not to overthink things. "He's building your future," Olivia would say with a reassuring smile. "Successful men have busy lives." Emma had no idea that those comforting words were hiding a devastating secret. Behind her back, Ryan and Olivia had been meeting for months. Their relationship had started as harmless conversations but quickly turned into something much darker. Together, they laughed about how easily Emma believed every excuse. They joked about the sacrifices she made and secretly planned a future where they would enjoy everything Emma had helped create. Then one Friday evening, Ryan called Emma with unusual excitement. He told her he had planned a surprise anniversary celebration at one of the most luxurious hotels in the city. "Dress beautifully," he said. "Tonight will change our lives forever." Emma's heart filled with happiness. She imagined Ryan was finally going to propose. She spent hours getting ready, wearing the elegant blue dress Ryan had once said made her look like the sky at sunset. She arrived at the hotel carrying hope instead of suspicion. As the ballroom doors opened, she expected candlelight, flowers, and music. Instead, she heard applause. At the center of the room stood Ryan, holding Olivia's hand. Behind them was a giant illuminated sign that read, "Congratulations, Ryan and Olivia." Emma stopped walking. Her body refused to move as guests stared at her with confused expressions. Ryan looked directly into her eyes without even pretending to feel guilty. Then, in front of everyone, he smiled and said, "Emma, thank you for everything. None of this would have been possible without your support, but the truth is, Olivia is the woman I actually want to spend my life with." The room fell completely silent. Emma looked toward Olivia, desperately hoping her best friend would deny everything. Instead, Olivia wrapped her arm around Ryan and smiled proudly. "You were always too trusting," she whispered. "Someone had to be honest with you eventually." Ryan laughed before adding the sentence Emma would never forget. "You weren't my future, Emma. You were simply the person who financed it." Every guest watched in stunned silence as Emma slowly removed the promise ring Ryan had given her years earlier. Without shouting, crying, or creating a scene, she placed it gently on the table beside him and quietly walked away. The moment she reached her car, the tears she had been holding back finally overwhelmed her. She cried until sunrise, questioning every memory, every sacrifice, and every promise she had ever believed. Over the following weeks, Ryan blocked her number, returned none of her messages, and had his lawyer send documents proving that because all the investments had been made through his company, Emma had no legal claim to any of the business she had helped build. Overnight, she lost her boyfriend, her best friend, her savings, and nearly every dream she had spent years creating. Forced to start over, Emma rented a tiny apartment with peeling paint and worked as a waitress to survive. Every morning, she smiled at strangers while silently carrying a broken heart. One rainy afternoon, an elegant elderly woman named Margaret entered the restaurant. Emma noticed another waitress accidentally spilled coffee on Margaret's expensive coat. Instead of blaming her coworker, Emma apologized sincerely, cleaned the mess herself, and offered to replace the meal from her own paycheck. Margaret quietly observed everything without saying much. Before leaving, she handed Emma a business card and invited her to interview for a personal assistant position. Emma accepted because she had nothing left to lose. Working with Margaret changed her life. She discovered Margaret secretly owned one of the country's largest investment firms. Rather than treating Emma as an assistant, Margaret became the mentor Emma never knew she needed. She taught her how businesses were built, how investments worked, how contracts protected honest people, and how greed always left evidence behind. Emma studied every evening after work, determined that no one would ever be able to manipulate her again. 3 years passed. Emma grew into a confident businesswoman respected throughout the industry. When Margaret announced her retirement, she shocked everyone by naming Emma as her successor, explaining that intelligence could be hired but integrity could not. Under Emma's leadership, the company expanded faster than anyone expected, winning projects across the country and becoming the biggest competitor to Ryan's architecture firm. Ryan often complained about the mysterious executive who kept defeating him in major bids, never realizing that the woman standing in his way was the same one he had once discarded. Eventually, Ryan received an invitation to negotiate a partnership with the company's CEO. Believing it was an opportunity to save his struggling business, he arrived with Olivia wearing expensive designer clothes and confident smiles. The conference room doors opened, and Emma calmly walked inside wearing a tailored navy suit. Ryan's face turned pale. Olivia's smile disappeared instantly. Emma greeted them professionally before taking her seat at the head of the table. Ryan quickly began apologizing, claiming he had been immature and confused years earlier. Olivia insisted they should all forget the past because everyone deserved a second chance. Emma listened patiently without interrupting. Then she placed a thick folder on the table. Inside were years of financial records, hidden transfers, emails, and signed documents proving Ryan had secretly used Emma's money to establish assets under false ownership while committing multiple acts of financial fraud. During her years with Margaret, Emma had quietly hired investigators and forensic accountants who uncovered everything. Authorities had already received copies weeks before the meeting. Emma wasn't offering a partnership. She was simply informing Ryan that official investigations had already begun. Within weeks, investors abandoned Ryan's company, banks froze accounts, clients canceled contracts. News outlets reported allegations of fraud and financial misconduct. Olivia, realizing the luxurious life she had chosen was collapsing, secretly transferred what money she could and walked away from Ryan without looking back. The same woman who had betrayed Emma for wealth abandoned Ryan the moment that wealth disappeared. Months later, Emma reopened her grandmother's bakery, not because she needed the income, but because it reminded her of the simple, honest life she had almost forgotten. Every morning she greeted customers with genuine warmth, knowing success meant nothing without peace. One quiet afternoon, Ryan entered the bakery alone. His expensive suits were gone. His confident posture had disappeared. Looking older than his years, he approached the counter hoping Emma might forgive him. Emma smiled politely, exactly as she smiled at every customer, and simply asked, "What would you like to order?" Ryan realized she no longer hated him. She no longer loved him either. To her, he had become nothing more than another stranger standing in line. As Emma turned to serve the next customer with confidence and happiness, Ryan finally understood that losing his fortune had not been his greatest punishment. His greatest punishment was watching the woman he had underestimated build a life so extraordinary that she no longer needed revenge to prove her worth. She had already won the day she chose to rebuild instead of break.